She used to call me her rock. Every time someone asked how she managed teaching a classroom full of sticky-fingered second graders, she'd smile and point at me. "He's my rock," she'd say. "He does everything. I'm just lucky to have him." I used to think that was love. Now I know it was insurance. My name's Mike. I run a mobile detailing business. Nothing fancy. Van, gear, hustle. I've built it up from nothing. You got grime, pet hair, mystery goo baked into your cup holders? I'll make it disappear. No shop, no front desk. Just me, a pressure washer, and enough degreaser to strip a Boeing 747. I met Ashley at a teacher appreciation event 4 years ago. I was there volunteering, pressure washing the parking lot, actually. PDA wanted it clean before teacher week. Ashley brought me lemonade. We clicked. She said I was grounded. Stable. Steady. "You're not like other guys," she told me after our third date. "You're reliable." I thought that was a compliment. Turns out, in hindsight, it was foreshadowing. Ashley teaches second grade. Blonde, polite, the kind of woman who buys scented markers in bulk and calls every kid sweetie. The kind of person people trust instantly. Except she's got this little panic switch in her brain. Tiny, twitchy thing that flips when the script changes. I found out about it on a Thursday. She was supposed to be at a professional development thing across town. Training day. Usually, she'd text me to ask if I wanted to grab dinner after. But this time, I texted her. "Hey, I'll swing by and grab you when you're done. I'll be in that area." She replied in 30 seconds, which was suspicious in itself, because during school hours, she's usually on radio silence. No, don't worry about it. I'll Uber, smiley face, traffic's awful. 3 exclamation marks. 1 smiley face. 0 logic. I called her, just to push it. "Seriously, I'll be right there." "No biggie." She laughed, too loud. "Babe, seriously. You'll be sitting in traffic forever. I'll just grab a ride. Love you." She hung up fast. I stared at the screen. Something about the tone. It wasn't "thanks, you're sweet." It was "abort mission." Whatever. I let it go. Mostly. That night, we both got home around 6:30. She was chatty, overcompensating. She kept calling me hero for no reason. "You even remembered to take out the trash?" she said, hugging me. "God, what would I do without you?" "I don't know, Ash. Maybe ride in someone else's back seat?" But I didn't say that. Not yet. No, I let the trap spring itself. Later that night, she went to take a shower. I sat in my truck to check invoices. My phone's charger was busted, so I connected hers to my stereo. Bluetooth popped up, and then it happened. Out of nowhere, her phone, still connected, started playing a voice note. Loud, clear, unfiltered. "He doesn't know a thing, baby. I swear." That was it. 6 seconds of silence after. Then it looped. I just sat there and listened to it again. "He doesn't know a thing." Whoever baby was, it wasn't me. Now, here's where most people mess up. They barge in, scream, demand answers. What I did, I unplugged her phone, let the message vanish like it never happened, walked back inside, kissed her on the head, and told her dinner smelled amazing. Because I wasn't ready to be angry yet. I wanted proof. So I started watching. Ashley was a creature of routine. Same coffee order. Same bedtime. Same perfume. The only things that changed were her excuses. Friday, she stayed late grading. Monday, she was helping with a parent conference. Wednesday, she got home smelling like Axe body spray and guilt. I asked her how training went that week. She blinked. "Training? Yeah. Last Thursday." "Oh," she said, laughing. "Yeah. Super boring." I almost fell asleep. "That's funny, Ash. Because someone else was wide awake, whispering in your phone. So I made a plan. Simple, show up unannounced. Lunch visit. Teachers love that kind of thing, right? I got sandwiches from her favorite deli. Picked up an extra drink in case she had a planning buddy. And I walked into her school on a bright Tuesday afternoon. The lady at the front desk knew me. "Oh, hey, Mike. You here to see Ashley?" "Yep." Thought I'd surprise her. She smiled. "Ah, that's sweet. Go on back. She's in room 204. I walked the hallway slow. Listened. Kids laughing. Sneakers squeaking. Then I reached her door. Pushed it open gently. She wasn't there. Only the kids, sitting in pairs, coloring. One of them, a little boy with jelly on his chin, looked up. "You missed Mr. Dale," he said. I blinked. "What?" "Mr. Dale brought her lunch," another kid chimed in. "They always eat together on Tuesdays." "Always? Eat together?" I nodded, thanked them, and left the sandwiches on her desk. Walked out before the bell rang. Mr. Dale, gym teacher, former D3 wrestler turned push-up machine. Guy who always wore aviators indoors like he was in a 2005 music video. I'd seen him before. Charming, loud, handsy. The kind of guy who makes kids laugh and moms nervous. I started noticing things. A text she sent with too many exclamation marks. Gym days are so chaotic. I'm dead. A note on the fridge. Reminder, D equals Dale, not dentist. Her perfume in my truck one morning, even though she claimed she took the bus. And worst of all, her smile. Not the one she gave me. The one she had when she thought no one was watching. That open mouth, eyes lit up smile she used to give me in year one. Now it belonged to someone else. And that's when I stopped planning revenge. I started planning a party. There's a special kind of silence that comes before impact. Not the silence of peace, the silence of setup. I spent that weekend alone. Not sad, not angry. Just working, planning. Like a contractor prepping a demo job. You don't cry over the wall you're about to knock down. You measure it, mark it, swing the hammer. So I swung. First thing I did, booked a little something through the school's PDA. I called it Teacher Appreciation Day, sponsored by family. You throw the word family on anything in a school setting, and people will move mountains for it. I told them I wanted to surprise my wife, Ashley, in her classroom to thank her for everything she does, for her students, for me, for the school. They ate it up. Said they'd invite the other teachers to come down for cupcakes and punch during the last 20 minutes of lunch block. Principal signed off. She deserves it, they said. Oh, does she? Meanwhile, I went to work on the real showstopper. A thank you video. Now, I'm no tech wizard, but you don't need Spielberg to drop Jaws. I had exactly 4 things. A photo slideshow, pics of her and Dale at various staff events. Group shots mostly, but once you look close, you see the hands on her back. The way her shoulder leans toward him. You see it when you're looking. That voice note. He doesn't know a thing, baby. I looped it 3 times at the start. Echo filter. Just enough to make people sit up. A fake quote I typed onto a title card. Sweaty classroom makeouts are better than cardio. Coach Dale trophy. A final frame that just said, thanks for being so committed, Ashley. I rendered it in 1080p. Put it on a USB. Bought a little Bluetooth projector off Amazon and tested it in my garage the night before. Clean, bright, no sound distortion. Then I baked a dozen cupcakes. Added a little card that said, thanks for keeping it sweet, Mike. Monday rolled around. Game time. I wore my cleanest detailing shirt, khakis, and that fake smile I save for HOA customers who want just a quick rinse, and then ask if I'll power wash their entire driveway. When I showed up at the front office, the receptionist was all sunshine. Mike, so excited. Ashley's gonna melt when she sees you. She would, all right. They let me into her classroom early to set up. The kids were gone for recess. I plugged in the projector, set the USB, lined up the cupcakes. Ashley walked in 5 minutes later. Her face lit up like a Christmas ad. Oh my God, what is this? I kissed her on the cheek. Just something small. To say thanks. You're always saying I do everything. Thought it was time to return the favor. She looked genuinely touched. I almost respected the performance. Then the door opened again. Teachers started trickling in. A few paras. Office staff. Even the janitor came in holding a half-eaten granola bar. Ashley smiled nervously, clearly overwhelmed. In the fake modesty way, not in the my life is about to explode way. Someone said, we're so lucky to have her. Another added, she's the glue of this place. I waited. Patient. Calm. Rock solid, just like she said. And then I hit play. The projector hummed. Lights dimmed. And the first thing they heard, loud and clear. He doesn't know a thing, baby. Silence. Then the second time. He doesn't know a thing. I didn't look at Ashley. I watched the room. Faces shifted from polite confusion to slow-motion horror. Then came the slideshow. Photo after photo. Ashley and Dale. Staff picnic. Field day. Parent night. A few raised eyebrows. One gasp. Then the quote. Sweaty classroom makeouts are better than cardio. Coach Dale. I heard someone whisper, what the hell? Final frame. My message. Thanks for being so committed, Ashley. Then the projector powered off. Lights came back on. Nobody moved. Ashley stood frozen. Hands at her sides. Mouth half open like she was waiting for someone to hand her a script. I turned to her. I was your rock, I said quietly. Turns out, I was just your alibi. Then I picked up the cupcakes, all 12, and handed them to the janitor. You deserve these more than she does. Walked out without another word. Now, you might think that's where it ends. But you'd be wrong. Because chaos doesn't die in the classroom. It spreads. Turns out, Coach Dale wasn't just a gym teacher. He was married. To the principal. Yeah, you read that right. Principal Regina Wallace. 6'1", former Army, sharp as a tack, ran that school like a submarine captain. Cold, fair, unshakable. And now, humiliated in front of her staff by her own husband. It took less than 24 hours for the news to burn through the district. Dale was suspended pending investigation. Regina took personal leave. Ashley, she stopped showing up altogether. I heard from a former parent that the school shut down for 2 days for staff wellness. Parents were livid. PTA lost their minds. There was a meeting. Someone brought printed screenshots. Meanwhile, I was back in my van, buffing the paint off a Lexus and smiling at the irony. But Ashley wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Because 3 weeks later, I got served. Not coffee. Not brunch. Legal papers. She was suing me. Defamation, public embarrassment, emotional distress. I laughed when I read it. A full, deep, belly laugh that scared my dog. She wanted damages for what I had done to her reputation. This woman. This walking case study in audacity. So I did what I always do. I got to work. You know what's funny about being sued? It makes you pay attention to everything. Suddenly, you notice how people look at you. How every casual conversation might get quoted. Every sorry, I'm late, becomes potential perjury. The whole world turns into a deposition with mood lighting. But me? I wasn't rattled. I've cleaned vomit out of luxury SUVs in the middle of July. A court summons doesn't even register on my gag reflex. When the envelope landed in my mailbox, it was almost cute. Certified mail, formal font. Her name spelled out like she was auditioning for sainthood. Ashley Lynn Moran versus Michael James Moran. Plaintiff alleges public humiliation, reputational harm, emotional distress, and career damage due to an unauthorized video presentation. Now, if you've been following along, you already know this wasn't just about a projector and some awkward cupcakes. This was about control, about saving face, about dragging the one guy who saw through her down to her level before he could walk away clean. She didn't want justice. She wanted me muzzled. And unfortunately for her, I don't respond well to leashes. So I lawyered up. A buddy of mine from high school, Ethan, went from getting suspended for prank emails to running his own small firm downtown. He specialized in digital defamation and business disputes. I called him up, explained the story. He didn't even let me finish before saying, "You've got more receipts than CVS. Let's go." He wasn't wrong. I had. The voice note. The screenshots from her phone backups. Yes, I'd pulled a few while she was in the shower months ago. School calendar records. The full chain of approval from the PTA about the appreciation event. And most importantly, the district's internal email confirming Dale was married to Principal Wallace. Let's talk about that last one. Because that was the thread that unraveled everything. See, after Dale's suspension, I got curious. He'd always struck me as greasy, sure, but married to the principal? That's a whole different level of delusion. So I filed a public records request. District employees' marital disclosures are technically private, but their basic employment contracts? That's public info. And guess what I found? A clause in Regina Wallace's contract that required mandatory HR reporting for intra-staff relationships, particularly involving administrative chain of command. Translation? She was supposed to report if her spouse worked at the school. She didn't. Now, I'm not the vindictive type, but when someone sues me, I like to even the playing field. So my lawyer filed a counterclaim. Defamation? Sure, let's do it. But we also added fraudulent litigation, abuse of process, malicious intent to harm business reputation, and for good measure, a formal subpoena for Dale and Regina to testify under oath. The reaction was immediate. 3 days later, Ashley's lawyer called Ethan with a settlement offer. A modest one. No apology. Just, we propose dropping both suits with prejudice and a mutual confidentiality clause. I told Ethan no. I didn't want silence. I want a court. Because here's the thing Ashley never understood. When you spend your life being the dependable one, you see everything. People confess to you when they're drunk. They vent to you when their marriage is rocky. They drop names without thinking, and they always assume you'll just nod and smile. She never once wondered what I was storing. Never noticed me tucking away the truth while she played dress-up in front of the school copier. Trial prep began. Deposition schedules, paperwork, witness lists, and then another twist. A local reporter reached out to Ethan. She'd gotten wind of the situation, a defamation case between two local figures, a viral video scandal, and a suspended gym teacher married to the principal. That's catnip for small-town media. Ethan asked me how I wanted to handle it. I told him, let her talk. I've got nothing to hide. A week later, the story dropped. Front page of the local life section. Surprise party sparks lawsuit in district scandal. The article didn't use names, but anyone in town could do the math. A beloved teacher, an ex-husband with a detailing business, a voice note that circulated online, and a principal currently on leave. The school board panicked, issued a vague statement about professional boundaries and reviewing HR protocols. Dale resigned 2 days later. Regina filed for separation 3 after that. Ashley, she tried to pivot. She went on a podcast. Yes, a podcast. Local teacher chat show where they talk about burnout and bulletin boards. She went on there like a phoenix, trying to spin the story. Said she'd been targeted by a bitter ex. Claimed she was ambushed during an otherwise wholesome appreciation gesture. Said the photos were taken out of context and the voice note fabricated. I almost admired the guts. Almost. Then I dropped the hammer. During pretrial, Ethan submitted a motion to introduce supporting evidence of pattern behavior, which included a second voice note where she whispered, "He thinks I'm staying late for a reading meeting. I'm actually meeting you at the back lot." A series of Venmo transactions between her and Dale labeled pizza plus eggplant equals red heart, and a 3-second selfie she took at school with Dale's arm halfway down her cardigan sleeve. The judge reviewed it in chambers. Ashley's case collapsed. Her lawyer begged for settlement again. This time, I accepted. On one condition, a public statement. She had to release a statement on her Facebook, visible to everyone, that said, "Recent allegations I made were based on misinterpretations and personal emotion, not facts. I retract any claims made against my ex-husband, Michael Moran, and apologize for the harm caused to his business and character." She posted it, turned off comments, deleted her account 2 hours later. Meanwhile, I posted something too. A photo of my van. Clean. Detailed. Lettering perfect. Caption, "Still doing everything. Still your rock. Now with court receipts." Business boomed. Turns out, folks like a guy who tells the truth and doesn't blink. Ashley moved 2 towns over. I heard she started using her maiden name again. A rebrand, I guess. But you can't scrub karma with scented markers. Me? I still work. Still detail cars. Still remember every word she said when she thought I wasn't listening. And every now and then, when I power wash someone's driveway, I think about how pressure, when applied just right, doesn't destroy. It reveals. You'd think the story ended with a Facebook apology and a few legal bills. You'd be wrong. Because people like Ashley, they don't just vanish. They curate their exits. They spin out one last goodbye, hoping it lands like a love letter and not what it really is, a lit match in a fireworks store. It happened 3 months after the court settled. By then, life had gone mostly quiet. I was back to detailing full-time, booked out 3 weeks in advance. I'd even partnered with a local car dealership. They'd prep the sales, I'd make them sparkle. Business was good. My name had become kind of a badge. The guy who caught the teacher, who beat the lawsuit, who walked out with receipts and a smirk. I wasn't gloating. Not publicly, but I was at peace. And then I got an email. No subject line. Just an address I didn't recognize. I almost trashed it, looked like spam. But something in my gut told me to read it. It was a screenshot. From a dating app. Ashley's profile. And right at the bottom, under occupation and hobbies, in the little box that says, what I'm looking for, she wrote, "Just want someone stable. Someone honest. Not a narcissist who humiliates people for sport." I stared at it for a while. Not because it hurt. Not because it hurt. But because of how predictable it was. Even after everything, the affair, the fake tears, the lawsuit, she still had to try and control the narrative. Still needed the last word. Even if it came in the form of a passive-aggressive dating profile in the mid-30s divorcee pool. I showed Ethan. He laughed. "You want to sue her again?" "No," I said. "I want to bury her quietly this time." See, I wasn't going to post anything. No grand clapback. No dramatic email. But I was going to finish what I started, because Ashley wasn't the only one hiding things. Remember Dale? Mr. Gym class hero? He left the district after his resignation. But not the state. Word was, he picked up a job at a private fitness center one town over. One of those executive training facilities, mostly soccer dads and tennis moms trying to reclaim their abs. I decided to pay him a visit. Not to threaten, just to clarify. I booked a free assessment through their website. Showed up in my oldest pair of Vans and a t-shirt that said detailer, not dealer. I walked in, filled out the clipboard, and waited. 10 minutes later, there he was. Dale. Slightly thinner, little more beard, same smirk. Mike, right? Let's get started. We went through the motions. He asked me about fitness goals. I gave him vague answers. He talked about lean mass. I nodded like it mattered. Then, mid-sentence, I pulled out my phone. Opened a photo. It was a still frame. Ashley and Dale, from the projector slideshow. His hand was clearly on her thigh under the school lunch table. Their faces too close. His wedding band not on his finger. I turned it toward him. He froze. I don't want anything, I said. Just letting you know, I'm still watching. He tried to smile. Look, man, that was over. I said, no. See, you left a mess. And when I cleaned things, I finished the job. I walked out before he could reply. It wasn't about fear. I wasn't trying to intimidate him. I just wanted to remind him. Consequences don't go away when you change zip codes. A week later, the gym posted a staff restructuring update. Dale's name was gone from the trainer roster. Now back to Ashley. She tried to play it cool. Rebrand herself as a self-care advocate online. Started a blog. Healing After Harm. Wrote pieces about betrayal, emotional violence, and the power of walking away. One of her posts went semi-viral. Shared by a few teacher influencers. She started getting attention. Then she made a mistake. She mentioned me, not by name, but clearly. Called me the man who weaponized truth for cruelty. Claimed I manipulated staff, parents, and the legal system. Said she barely escaped a cycle of abuse. I'd had enough. So I submitted a guest post to the same blog network. Not to defend myself, just to tell my version, once. Clean, detailed, clinical. I told the full story. The surprise party. The voice note. The lawsuit. The apology. The public court record. I didn't editorialize. Didn't mock her. Just laid it out like a transcript. The network took it down within 24 hours. But not before it got 26,000 views and 114 comments. Ashley deleted her blog the next day. I don't know where she is now. I don't care. Some people think revenge is about making noise. But the most satisfying kind is quiet. Let them hear the echo of your footsteps as you leave the room and never come back. End of story. Subscribe to the channel